think it's really clear we're not going to close the sustainable financing gap until we get private sector investment mobilised in support of the SDGs, and that has to happen at scale. And that means private sector investment in areas that perhaps in some markets have been regulated and the private sector has not been able to enter into, and freeing up the market for the private sector to make those investments. And we've seen it happen, for example, with telecoms. We know that we've had that global mobile telecommunications revolution across Africa. It's happened very swiftly because the private sector was allowed to invest in telecoms where previously state utilities had been, and that expanded the market and gave everybody access to telephony far more quickly than would otherwise been the case. And we need that private sector investment to happen and be welcomed in a number of areas, including in the power sector in pursuit of SDGs. And at Standard Chartered, we're working really hard to try and innovate within the framework of the JETPs.
Part of what we're trying to do is pivot finance. So we talk a lot about financing gaps, but I mean, lots of stuff gets financed every day. I think we're trying to pivot some of the finance to solve new problems. I think the good thing about country platforms is it lets you have a plan and then prioritize how you use the finance. And I do think that in some of the platforms we're working in, we are rejigging like who finances what. And there are cases where things have been financed with public money that actually, with a small change to policy, could become bankable, and then you can free up that public money to do something else. And so I think we're working more at the system level, and I think that's helpful, and that's starting to bear fruit in some of the JETPs.
I think there's a challenge with how we can move quick enough, and I think one of the challenges we've had is then the time it takes to come up with an investable plan and then have the project pipeline to then get things moving. So I think the more things can be ready to move quicker on that. I think supporting countries to come up with plans, I think it's a key level for decision making to deliver the more transformational change, to make sure we support that. And if we're sort of honest with ourselves, I think the climate finance landscape and our instruments of support, it's quite a complex landscape at the moment. And if you're at the receiving end and thinking through, where am I getting the different sources of finance, and I'm bidding into this and this time frame, and how that fits into the national level planning is immensely challenging. And if there's more we can do to try and gear up instruments or evolve that landscape to make it easier to sort of come in on support of those country-led plans, I think that would make a huge difference.